everyone. My name is Yeong Kim. I am professor of human development and family sciences at the University of Texas at Austin. And I'm also the principal investigator of Project Dual, which is developmental understanding across languages. And for our Research Assistant Spotlight series, today we are featuring Yvonne Jackson, who is our research assistant who focuses on geocoding of data that we've collected from our study participants, particularly as it relates to their schooling. So when we collect data with participants, we ask them, what school did you attend as a kindergartner, as a first grader, all the way up to 12th grade? And even after that, when they are in the event that they went to community college or a four-year university or even graduate school. So Yvonne's role is geocoding all of those schools that students may have, participants in our study may have gone to. We're interested in finding out what is the neighborhood context, not only within their neighborhoods, but also in terms of the school context where participants may have grown up in, because we know has an influence on their developmental outcomes with our participants who are bilinguals. So Yvonne was selected for our Research Assistant Spotlight series because, of course, her outstanding work on the project. Yvonne has been very meticulous with our geocoding work. She will find discrepancies in data that we didn't even realize we had until she discovers it and reports it to me. For example, we would have a school that changed its name, and then we find out maybe the previous RA put a different name on it or misinterpreted the city that they were in, and Yvonne's able to detect all those errors, find them, and then we're able to correct our mistakes so that we can get the most accurate data that we can code to link it with our study participants. Yvonne has been incredible in really paying attention to the details, making sure all of our data is in tip-top shape to make sure that whatever analyses we do to make linkages with our participants are going to be accurate so we can make accurate conclusions about how their schooling experiences affect these bilingual children's developmental outcomes. So Yvonne, how do you feel about being selected for the RA Spotlight series of the month?
I don't know. I guess great. I wasn't really expected to be selected. I didn't even know like there was an RA spotlight. I knew like on y'all's social media you would post like spotlight RAs, but I never knew y'all actually did like video interviews. So it's cool. Yeah, a little nervous, but
Sounds good. So, of course, being featured, we really want to learn more about you. Students, research assistants, past and present, and future are curious to know, where you're from and, any fun facts about you that you may want to share about yourself.
yeah, so I'm from Texas. And I would say fun fact is I love to travel. I love traveling a lot.
And is there a specific place you want to highlight?
Croatia, my family is from there, my mom's side, so I visit them usually every summer. And
Oh,
it's just a special place in my heart, like very special place.
mhm. So when you go, how long do you stay?
Usually all summer, usually from June to end of July, beginning of August. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, so it's like almost every summer throughout, like as you
Yeah.
were growing up, you were in
Mhm.
Croatia. And so
Yeah.
does that mean you're also pretty good with the language?
Yeah, I that's actually how I learned the language. Like my mom never actually taught me. My mom told me she's like, "Yeah, you actually learned Croatian by going there every summer." And I still struggle with like grammatical things, but I can still have like a basic conversation. I understand. Like I'm better at understanding than speaking, but I can still speak it.
Hmm. Yeah, so that's one of the great things about being a faculty member at UT is I get to see and meet students from all kinds of heritage all over the world. And during the summer is actually the most fun because I have research assistants who'll say, "Oh, they're going on their family vacation, but they're gonna be able to like they'll let me know they can't work on my project for like that duration because they're gone or whatnot. And it's just fascinating to like literally see that students are in literally every time zone of the world in every part of the globe during the summer. It
Yeah.
is so incredible. And it's like really fun for me to see, oh, where are you going? And it's like one student is in India, another student is in Croatia, another student's in Russia, and you know, in like India and China, and it's Australia. Like it's incredible, like the depth and breadth and South America of students all over the world at UT Austin. What is your current major and graduation date?
So I'm a geography major, and I'm minoring in urban studies. And my graduation date is going to be May 2027. I plan to graduate early.
Okay, sounds good. And then what do you plan to do after you graduate?
I'm hoping to get a full time job in hopefully something involving GIS or urban studies. I'm also open to really anything. Any opportunities that are out there, I'm open to anything. So.
So are there any like big companies that are, that hire, students in your major typically
Uh,
or not necessarily? It's like all over.
I would say one I could definitely think of is Esri. They do GIS, geographic information systems, and I'm actually learning how to use one of their softwares, ArcGIS Pro. So they're definitely a company that kind of it comes to mind.
And where are they headquartered?
Ooh, that I'm not sure.
Curious to know if they're flexible or like remote work or if you have to be in a certain city.
I'm. I think like you could do it anywhere. I'm not sure.
Okay.
That I would have to look up, but
Yeah. It's not like the olden days where you have to physically be, at that
yeah.
location. So kind of circling into the role you do for my project, what interested you in getting into research or giving research a try?
When So how I actually found Project Dual was through Workday. I was in search of like jobs, and I was applying to many on Workday, and then I stumbled across Project Dual, and I clicked on it, and I was like, okay, this seems interesting, and I thought to myself like, I'll apply because most of the things that I have on my resume involve customer service. A lot of my previous jobs, I was in the food industry, and then currently now I'm also doing a lot of customer service. So I really wanted to add something onto my resume that wasn't just customer service, but something more kind of analytical or technical. And I thought Project Dual would be a good idea to just try because that's what going to college is about, is trying something new. So I thought to myself like, let me try something new, something I've never done before. So that's how I got here.
Yeah, so I thought maybe because you spoke Croatian, I thought maybe that was the connection you saw. But I guess you were just more interested generally in
Yeah,
research thinking.
I do think the research like focus is very interesting, bilingualism. I wanted to learn more about what specific language y'all were focusing on as well, and
Mhm.
what aspect of bilingualism. So it's still cool to be a part of this research study.
And then can you I know I described your role a bit, but did you want to expand on it or describe it in more detail? Because I kind of glossed over all the little details you do.
Yeah, so it's for right now, it's a lot of just data cleaning and data management. Like kind of what you said, I'm looking through the responses of each participant, I'm making sure if they're consistent with their responses as well. And if they're not, you kind of log that in error, and then you kind of figure out like what to do with that answer. You kind of have to be like a detective in a way, look at their where they live to kind of see here's like a very here's a kind of like an example like KIP charter school. So sometimes like in responses they don't a participant doesn't specify which KIP school, they just say KIP. So then you kind of have to be a detective and actually try and search what is the nearest KIP school in their permanent address and things like that. And then with the geocoding part, I was given a script to geocode using RStudio, and then with that, I just update the longitude and latitude in an Excel sheet that has like a master list of all the schools, and then also a sheet that lists all the participants with all their addresses. And kind of like you said, you I have to like really look for details because there's a lot of schools that have had name changes, or sometimes a school isn't open anymore; it's closed. So kind of have to like look at that, or an address change. Sometimes schools change their addresses, so it's a lot of precision and detailed things I need to look at. So yeah.
So incredible the amount of data that we can link with the latitude and longitude you provide. Because once we know the latitude and longitude, there's a whole host of data, like, for example, air pollution at that school, at that location, collected for decades. You know what I mean? And so we can go back to what year that participant was attending school at that time, and then look at air quality data to link it to what was air quality like at that school environment when they were doing like physical education outside school, or things like that. And we can also know from that latitude and longitude, we know what block code it refers to in the US Census. And then the US Census, as you know, has been collecting data for decades. So we know what's the rate of poverty, what's the rate of crime, things like that in that particular school context. So we can link all of that. But none of that would be possible without you geocoding for me first. So that's why, you do that first step so I can link the other cool data together to that location. And tell us more about what's your favorite part of being in Project Dual.
One thing I really do like is that a lot of it is remote. So I can do things in my own time, especially since I'm a full-time student. I have two jobs, and one of my jobs is also it's not a fixed schedule. So it's based on events. So having this role that there's no like set schedule allows me to kind of be more flexible with my time. I can like yeah, I'm very flexible with my time. I can manage my time easily, um, and kind of work my way around things because of how it's remote and flexible as well.
Sounds good. So then if is there a word or a sentence or a phrase that you would use to describe what Project Dual is to you? Or
Detail oriented is something that
uh,
comes to mind.
I mean, your whole role kind of revolves around being detail oriented,
Yeah.
right? And what are some new skills you think you develop while being in Project Dual?
Working with Excel, I previously have not worked with Excel before, and a lot of the data is in Excel sheets. So I'm kind of learning how to navigate Excel. And also, I'm learning how to improve on being more detail oriented and noticing small things. And yeah,
It's kind of like, unless someone points it out to you, you don't even know that that's something you should have been looking for,
yeah,
right? I see, I see. And then do you think there's anything people don't know about Project Dual that you would want to say?
I would say this research role is more of like you're kind of behind the scenes in a research study. Because a lot of the times when I think of research, I think of, hands on lab stuff where like you're going to like in a field or something. I don't know. But this is more like behind the scenes. You're kind of like behind the scenes stuff that you don't normally see in research, I would say. So it's quite, I feel like, because a lot of the roles also are kind of like more office based or like behind the scenes. So I think that's something a lot of people should know.
And then are there any changes you saw in yourself, either before and after being a research assistant on the project?
I would say I definitely was able to learn even more how to manage my time. Usually I am really good at managing my time, but adding like a research position on to my schedule definitely allowed me to learn even more how to manage my time, figure out when I should do work, when I shouldn't. So
Sounds good. And can you describe a connection or a relationship you made on Project Dual?
there was this one girl I actually knew from my childhood, and we haven't talked since like I don't know elementary school, and and then it was at the introductory meeting. We had the same introductory meeting, and we were like, "Hey, we know each other," so it was kind of cool to kind of like see each other again and catch up.
Okay, so you didn't even know you had a connection until you went to that meeting.
Yeah, we didn't even know that we were in the same
Uh-huh.
project or yeah, research.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's cool that you were able to recognize each other after many years. And do you think being a research assistant on this project changed your view or maybe not changed your view of research in general?
I would say yeah, cuz like again, kind of like how I previously said like when I think of research I'm like, "Oh, you're in the lab doing stuff." But like this really shows the behind the scenes in research and like all the other different layers that are involved in research. And I think it's really cool to see how small things make a big difference in research that you wouldn't even think about. Like the longitude and latitude, like you just said earlier. So
Yeah, so you didn't even realize having a latitude and longitude could link you to so much more data.
yeah.
That, yeah, there's so much administrative data that's collected by all these agencies around, that we can link it to. And has your experience at UT Austin changed as a result of being in my project?
I would say I get to being involved in this project. I get to see kind of how research is like at UT, which I think is great, and kind of how it works. So yeah.
Sounds good. And I wanted to talk to you about some of your other experiences at UT Austin. I know you're currently working as a usher for the Hogg Memorial and also as a building monitor for university unions. So tell us more about how, what those roles are like and how does it fit or maybe not fit with your major and minor?
So I mean, I would say they both don't fit with my major or minor. They're more like the usher is more of like a hospitality role, while the building monitor is more like security ish. But with usher, I get to see a lot of cool events. Like last semester, I saw like a comedy show, or a jazz performance. I get to see cool cultural events. Like 3 weeks ago, I believe there was like the Muslim Student Association. So you get to see like a lot of cool different cultural events, musical events, religious events. So it really opens you to so many different like things that are going on campus that you wouldn't have even known that are going on campus. But for my building monitor, I actually just started that job recently, and you're just monitoring the union. You're making sure everything's good. Um, it's chill. It's a very chill job, and so I like them both. Yeah.
So then did someone introduce you to it? Like you had a connection or you just found it on your own?
This was also while I was trying to apply to jobs on Workday. I
Ah,
wasn't having much luck on Workday, so my friend was like, "Oh, why don't you just email university unions?" I was like, "Okay, I'll do that." So I did exactly that last semester. I emailed Texas unions, and they were like, "Well, we have an usher position open," and I was like, "Sure, I'll apply. Like, I'll take it." And then over winter break, I emailed my boss at
mhm.
the union, and I asked if there's another position I could also do, and he said building monitor. So I was like, that seems interesting. Let me try that out too. So I feel like
Mhm.
both of the jobs that I have are very much like side quests. Like they're not typical jobs like you would normally think you would have. So
Yeah.
I think they're kind of fun. So I enjoy
Yeah.
them.
So then I guess in terms of getting a job on campus, maybe it's really just connections that's even more effective than Workday, possibly.
Know why. Like Workday, I barely heard back from anyone, and honestly, I
Oh,
feel like just emailing might work better.
or a combination. It's so hard to know where the jobs are these days.
Probably people forgot that they posted stuff on Workday, so they don't check. So
And do you have any advice that you may have for future research assistants who are applying to apply or work on the project?
I definitely want to emphasize on manage your time, learn how to manage your time wisely. Having a Google Calendar with everything that's happening is super important because you can forget, and just learn how to manage your time. Having a Notion, or I don't know, anything that works, a physical planner, just managing your time is extremely important. So,
So do you use Notion yourself?
I actually use Google Calendar. I tried using Notion, but it kind of got a little complicated. So I was like, I'm gonna stick to Google Calendar. But I do
Mhm.
use Notion for other random stuff like planning things, or yeah.
Sounds good. So I wanted to say thank you for to Yvonne Jackson for being our featured research assistant spotlight series. Thank you so much, Yvonne, for sharing your experiences with us today.
Yeah, of
Thank you
course.
for listening, everyone.